Welcome to the Courage to Be podcast. I am your host, Tanya Vasallo. What do you do when something you really want isn't happening? Do you give up? Do you find a way to make it happen? This week, I watched my daughter remind me of what courage looks like when you lead from inspiration instead of waiting for permission. And this is what happened earlier in the week. Isla discovered that the Halloween dance at this new school she's in was not happening. Every year there's been a Halloween dance, but it wasn't happening because she thought it was organized by the school, but it turns out that it had been led by one of the parents or a family that's no longer at the school. So she was heartbroken for a moment. And on Wednesday, when she found out about this, she just turned that disappointment into determination. She was on a mission. She rallied a few of her friends and decided that they were going to host a Halloween party themselves for all of middle school. And I'm thinking in my head, yeah, right. And then I'm thinking, and I don't want to get involved. But I was blown away. They approached the head middle school, the director of middle school. They asked him for permission and he agreed to it. He even gave them a small budget of like $200. And he said that he was not getting involved, though, that this had to be student led, that he would chaperone there, and that here was the budget that they had. So they ran with that. And it's amazing to see, because I think sometimes as adults, we stop ourselves. We might have an idea and then we're like, oh, but think about this. This was on a Thursday that they had the conversation with him. And this party was happening the following Thursday, not on October 31st. They were doing it on October 30th. As an adult, I think I would have just seen all the obstacles, or I ask you and I invite you, like, would you have seen all the obstacles to this? And like, oh no, we can't do it. There's no time. I don't want to call vendors. Like, there's a certain effort that's required. Or would you have said, you know what, this is the vision. We're doing whatever we have to do to get this done. And I even told Isla, I said, I don't want to get involved with this. I just finished organizing the rabies vaccine for the school, for more parents in the school. And I honestly didn't even want to get that, I had to get that all organized. You can listen to that episode if you want to, too. Just scroll down. I think it came out this past week. And she said, it's fine, Mom. We don't want adults. We're doing it ourselves. So she really wanted to take it on herself. And she was losing her voice. Her energy is so low. So Thursday was when the idea started. Friday and Saturday, she wasn't really available to meet up with other friends because she was on 6 hours on Friday at the pool doing her first aid certification. And then Saturday for another 6 hours down at the beach to complete the first aid certification for scuba diving. And she didn't care. She pushed through. And even on Friday, after she came back from being at the pool, no voice, she had one of the other kids, what do you call that, announce it in Spirit Friday. There's like a school assembly for the whole school at Friday. And then during Spirit Friday, which is where they gather there's vendors with different foods and different things. I bumped into her walking around with a little basket that had maybe $5 in it. It was almost embarrassing to me as a mom because I was like, you can't go around begging for money to the parents. You should be setting up a lemonade stand or selling something to raise money for this Halloween party. No one's going to give you money. That was my thought. Isn't this interesting, right? We put our own obstacles. She came back after 2 hours of Spirit Friday walking around. They were determined. They came home and in 2 hours, they had raised $120 just from donation of different parents. And all weekend, the friends that were organizing this, they sent out surveys to the kids in their class in 7th grade. They asked us to post, in the chats of 6th and 8th graders. They called pizza shops. They called the vendors with, photo booths and smoke machines and all these ideas that they had. I mean, we tried helping them with a couple of the things, but they were doing it all themselves. They were even asking them for a discount that they didn't have a budget. It was amazing to see them in action. And just seeing that energy, it inspired collaboration, resilience. It reminded me what leadership really looks like, which is believing in a vision before anyone else can see it. And I was actually one of her obstacles, I have to say. I should say something to her so that she understands that I didn't mean to get in the way, because sometimes as adults, we think we know better. But when you don't allow the kids to hold that vision, I know they're going to pull off something amazing. And so there's been several things that I've just been observing that have taught me, one is that leadership isn't about being in charge. It's more about being inspired and inspiring others. It's also about seeing what's missing and having the courage to create it. It's also about not taking no for an answer and not letting that stop you, whatever the other adults are saying. And it's about following rules with integrity, but not letting them dim your creativity. They saw what their budget was and they're like, this is not big enough of a budget. We need more money. So let's go ask for money. So they're thinking of other creative ways. They see an obstacle and they see problem solution, like, how do we resolve this? It just, in summary, watching Isla reminded me that sometimes we adults overthink things. We talk ourselves out of action, and we honestly underestimate what's possible when we move with pure inspiration. So I ask you, when in your life have you been waiting for someone else's permission to make something happen? Share with me. I'd love to hear from your perspective. And if this story resonated with you, first, I'd love you to share it with someone else that you think it might inspire, even younger kids, like if they're in middle school, like my daughter, and they have a vision, or maybe they're teenagers or young adults, or even an adult, if they have a vision, to not stop themselves and share this episode with them. It might inspire them to keep on pushing through. And I'll do a follow-up of this episode, because as of now, I think there's about 70 kids that signed up for this. And we'll see how the Halloween party ends up panning out. And please share with me, share on YouTube and Substack. And until our next episode, I'm sending you love and courage. If you loved today's episode, it would mean so much if you rate and review The Courage to Be on Apple Podcast. Not only does it help the show to grow, but it also gets you in the running for something amazing. Every month, I draw one lucky winner to receive a complimentary 7-night, 8-day vacation. You'll get to pick from over 3,000 beautiful resorts worldwide. You just cover the taxes and fees like you would with a travel rewards. Airfare is not included. And if you want to double your chances, along with your Apple Podcast review, leave a couple of comments on YouTube. That counts as a second entry. Just send your screenshots to help.thecouRageToBe@gmail.com. and you'll find the email in the show notes too. It only takes a moment, and who knows, your next adventure might be closer than you think. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on our next episode of the Courage to Be podcast.